Video, I'll be talking about the version 3.4 Phase 2 weapon banners, which were officially announced on the Hoyoverse Genshin Impact Twitter page earlier today. And this is normally not what they do. They normally only release the information like right before, like a week or so before the next phase. But in this case, they went ahead and announced both phases and all the banners up front, which I think is actually a good positive for all of us players, because then you can plan accordingly and know what to expect, right? So it's better this way. So yeah, let's just get to it. I already just posted the one talking about Phase 2 character banners, so check that out. It involves, of course, the characters you see on the screen right now. Hu Tao, Yelan, Beidou, Ningguang, and Xingqiu is there as well. So let's just talk about the weapons specifically. So luckily, I do happen to have their signature weapons. So we have Staff of Homa, and we have Aqua Simulacra. So let's just talk about those first, and then I'll talk about the 4 stars on the banner as well. So first of all, without even just going too deep here, these are must-pull weapons. Hands down, must-pull. If you were saving or worried about the weapon banners, you cannot go wrong with this weapon banner. Both weapons are amazing. They are basically in the same class or tier, in my opinion, for what they do. The passive-wise, they're both very similar. They are an HP increase with an according damage increase as well. They both have the crit damage substat. Of course, as you can see, the polearms always have higher base attack than the bows, but regardless, they're very, very similar in their usage. So I'm going to talk about them interchangeably here. So obviously, Staff of Homa is like the best in-slot weapon for Hu Tao. Now, Hu Tao can do well with other weapons like Dragon's Bane and other weapons, but you know what? If you've got your Hu Tao ready to go and you haven't gotten your Staff of Homa yet, now's your chance. Wait for 3.4 Phase 2 dropping in early February. But yeah, like, Staff of Homa is an amazing weapon. I was fortunate. I won the 50-50 and I got 2 of them pretty much back to back within a 10 pull. I was like, and I gave the second one to Zhongli, which I'm very pleased with. They both do well because obviously he needs HP for his shield as well. So it works really well. And this is just a very universal weapon that would work well even on, say, a Raiden Shogun, even though she wants more energy, or even a Sino and Xiao, all these characters, and Shenhe, all of those ones want more energy. So like this works well with them too. So I would just say definitely go for this weapon banner. The version 3.4 Phase 1 weapon banner has, of course, Alhaitham's signature weapon, the Light of Foliar Incision, and the Primordial Jade Wing Spear, right? And now the reason why I would say save, if you're picking either of the weapon banners, I would pick the Phase 2 weapon banner for Hu Tao and Yelan, because you can't go wrong with either of these 2 weapons, whereas on the other one, the Phase 1 banner, you can't go wrong with either technically. However, you may not need Alhaitham's signature weapon for Alhaitham, or you may not want to risk getting another Primordial Jade Wing Spear, because that weapon you can get from the standard banner, and it's available from losing the 50-50 anyway, so that's why. Whereas the Staff of Homa doesn't come often in the reruns, and this would be technically the first rerun for the Aqua Simulacra, because it's the first rerun for Yelan as well, after she debuted back in 2.6. So yes, I would save for this, and I would recommend going deep for it if you can with your Primo Gems for the Staff of Homa, and good luck to you. Yes. Now, speaking of the Aqua Simulacra, I want to just kind of, basically what I just said about the Homa is interchangeable with the Simulacra. This one is really good. Now, the only difference though, as you might notice, the polearm side, we have way less polearm options. So, I mean, Homa is still the best, right? On the bow side though, I will say this. Some people may disagree and may think that Aqua Simulacra is not a must-pull, but it is, because it's more universal for the passive to activate. See, Thundering Pulse is more specifically for normal attack characters such as Yoimiya, right? And then like Polar Star, these are also crit substat ones, right? And Polar Star requires you to do one of each action. You have to do a normal attack or a charge attack and an elemental skill and a burst in order to get the full stacks, right? And that works for Child's kit, but may not work for everyone's kit. It can work. I'm not saying it's not, and Polar Star also looks good on Yelan too, right? As you can see with the blue and the white. So, but I will say Aqua Simulacra at the very least doesn't have those requirements. You don't need to like do a normal attack, a charge attack, an elemental skill, and then a burst. Not necessarily in order, but you know, you can just do. You just put her out there, and then it'll increase her HP because she scales off of HP as well, right? You know, and then she gets damage from it. So I think Aqua Simulacra works well for her, obviously, for her kit. But Aqua Simulacra would work well for a child, would work well for Yoimiya. It won't buff her a normal attack specifically, but it will buff her damage in general, right? It would work well even on any of the other characters that you're thinking about, such as Fischl, perhaps, right? Any of the other characters. And there's going to be, of course, new bow characters coming in the future, whenever, as well. So Aqua Simulacra is just one of those that you should want to have in your back pocket if you have an extra one. I will say right now, I am actually going to save some extra wishes to try my luck on the Phase 2 banner and see if I can get an extra Homa. Again, with Aqua, I don't mind getting extra copies of it, but because with bows, as you can see, we have way more bow options, like even in the 4-star category, we have way more options, right? With polearm, we don't have as much, right? As you can see, it goes right to the 2 stars right away, like on the screen. So that's why I wouldn't mind getting an extra copy, because they're just, both of them, and even if I lost to 50-50, if I set my path for Homa and I got an Aqua, I wouldn't be mad, because both are amazing. Okay, enough about that. Let's just quickly talk about the 4-star options on the Phase 2 weapon banner. It will be Dragon's Bane, which would be basically a 4-star weapon that will be decent and placeholder for Hu Tao. It works well for her and for Xiangling, because they're both Pyro polearm users, so it works well for them. It's Elemental Mastery, though. It won't maximize the DPS for either character, though, unfortunately. So keep that in mind, but it's a decent weapon, but it's a placeholder, in my opinion, that will be replaced. Next, on the bow side, Rust is there. Now, Rust is actually a really amazing weapon for a child, which we talked about. It's actually his best in slot 4-star weapon. Rust also works really well for Yoimiya, and so Rust is actually a pretty good weapon. Right now, because I have their 5-star weapons from when those weapons debuted, I'm pretty happy with that option, so I don't have anyone using the Rust. But the Rust is a good option if you don't have the 5-star options for those characters. Moving along, Claymore side, the next one that's coming is the Lithic Blade, which is a limited series Li Yue weapon. This weapon is not like a must-have, and it's been around for the game for like over a year and a half already, I think, right? So it's not like new, of course. I haven't leveled it up, and nor have I used it. But I might be able to get the maximum refinements for it if I'm pulling on this banner anyway. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. No one's using it right now because it requires you to have, Li Yue characters in the party, and it doesn't work if you don't have enough Li Yue characters. I mean, it works, but you're not going to get as much damage out of it. And right now, because we have 4 nations available in the game and there's so many characters to choose from, we're not always going to have Li Yue characters. This worked better when it was just Monsta and Li Yue in the beginning, but then now, we have Inazuma characters and we have like Sumeru characters, and soon in the future we're going to have Fontaine characters next, right? So it's just losing its luster as a weapon. That's why I never really built this or the spear. So that's my opinion. And then next we have the Catalyst side. It will be the it's the Favonius Codex. There we go, because they all look similar. The Favonius Codex. This is a good placeholder. Favonius weapons are always good placeholders in any category, weapon type, for any character. And the only issue is that you have to build them for crit rate to be above 50% so that they can consistently or have higher chance to proc the passive, which generates a little extra energy, elemental particles, for your team. But it's a good weapon to have, and many players are fine with using this on many of the characters, of course. So it's not bad, but they're placeholders as well. And then on the sword side, we have Favonius Sword. So similar statement to what I just said about the Favonius Codex. Same thing. Again, good placeholder series. You'll have to build them for crit rate, and you'll eventually replace them with better weapons. But then even so, these are great weapons for 4-star characters, because you don't necessarily need to equip all your 4-star characters with 5-star weapons, right? You want to make sure that your 5-star weapons are reserved for your heavy hitters or your major supports in the 5-star categories, right? Or the ones that have really high utility. So yeah, so now let me just summarize. This weapon banner for Phase 2 is super stacked. It is a must-pull weapon banner. You cannot go wrong with either Staff of Homa or Aqua Simulacra, and maybe you'll be lucky and you can get like a double, right? Double of each of them, or one of each, or whatever, right? It'll be amazing. These 4-star weapons are not must-pulls, but they're nice to have, okay? It doesn't hurt to get, any of those weapons, and at least, in my opinion, they're better than the Phase 1 4 stars, because the Phase 1 4 stars were more lackluster in my opinion. I just did a video about that earlier today, but the Phase 1, I kept saying Phase 4, 3.4 Phase 1 weapon banner, it has like Rain Slasher and the flute and stuff like that, which is not even useful in my opinion, right? But at least the Phase 2 banner has useful 4-star options. Like I just said, the Rust is pretty good. Dragons, and then the other 3, like the 2 favonius weapons plus the dragon's bane, those are like okay placeholders, and then the lithic one is okay. If you have nothing else to give to certain characters, then at least give it to a Liura character to free up that slot, right? So anyway, just to summarize, must pull, I recommend. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and if you guys are saving up to pull on this banner. I know many of you are going to have a hard decision here, because you're going to have to weigh out pulling on the weapon banner and also pulling for the character banners. I just talked about the phase 2 character banner with Hu Tao and Yelan, and I believe that that's a must pull banner as well. So it's a lot of Primo gems to save. So good luck to everybody, and I will see you guys in the next video, and please feel free to leave me